All right. So, no point in wasting too much time. Let me just kick off a tweet to get this thing started. Doop, doop, doop. Hey, Fucon. Hey, insofar as. Hey, Drubador. Hello, everybody. All right, so let's get this thing started. Doop, doop. Jeez, oh Pete. Okay. So, one thing, actually, I want to run. How do I want to do that? It's tricky. Well, let me see if I can do this. I wanna start dogfooding the new. As you can see, it's 402 in the title bar here, and I've got about 2/3 of the bug fixes and upgrades that I want. But I need to start using it to make sure that it's solid, because who knows, I might have introduced new things, so I haven't done a lot yet. So I'm going to try to use this, but the only thing is I need to make sure I can actually at least build the experiment part of the project. It doesn't, yeah, okay, so experiment builds, certain things don't build, but not working on those for now. So that's fine. What I should do is set up different build modes and separate the scripts out so that then I can say, like, oh, go into this build mode, go into that build mode. Of course, ultimately, I kind of want that to just be a feature that you can handle without I want it to be something you can do without doing what's the word I'm looking for? The API. Hold on a sec. I'm seeing. So first of all, is something wrong with the video audio situation today? Worse than usual? I mean, nothing's really different, so I can take a quick look to fiddle with it, but normally I can't do anything about this shit. Okay, so I've tried reinserting the audio jack. It normally has like some amount of pop crack crap, but I've never really figured out how to get rid of that. Never had a bit of luck. Let's see, I'll just go through some of these settings here. So, I don't use a noise gate, but I don't think that's what caused it. Because whenever I add the noise gate, it's really fucked up, so I just ignore that. Let's see, what else? What else? Encoding. I have 160 as my bitrate on the audio, and it's mono channel. Let me try what happens if I just let it lower the bitrate. Alright, so I'm going to let it be where it is. Maybe someday I'll get a new mic and that'll fix it. I don't know. Okay. So let's do some Lexer related stuff. First, I gotta open up all the related files. Now, while I'm here, I want to show off something new 4coder can do. So, you know, there's like some issues with 4coder where it, and this was something that I don't know if how much Casey mentioned it when he was doing 4coder customizations, but like if the slashes are wrong, it used to have a problem with that. If the directory on Windows is capital versus lowercase, it's a problem because the only way it could tell if two files were the same was it compared file names. Well, the worst version of that is that you can go through subdirectories like W, and in the new build, that's gone. So now it can tell that these are the same file, even though they have completely different names. Because this one I loaded them through the W directory, and I stored the save location through the W directory. But it can see that they're the same file now. So all that kind of stuff is fixed, which is a cool new thing it does. So we've got this building, and the other thing I should show off is where the... Uh-oh. I had to run. I'll have to just open another one of these. There we go. So, the Lexer is currently at this date. I think the last time I showed it on stream, it was only up to 1 out of 20, but now it's up to 11 out of 20. And you can see here that it's not like doing anything crazy off anymore. There's like a few of them failing, and then actually these aren't verbose, which is why, but a lot of them even have the right number of tokens is what I'm getting at here. Like 3 of them have the wrong number of tokens still. And so I'm going to do Lexer test next, is my next one. If you can, spaces in the build.bat path still mess it up because that's just a change in the custom layer I have to make. So that's not really on my major to-do list. That's like on the last minute to-do list. Whenever I'm making changes, I do the things that I can only do internally first, and then I take a quick look at custom, and I have a separate little list of things I do there. So there I just need to add quotes around the build bat. Hey, Zach. Alright, so here's what's going on. I want to get the new the next file working, which is Lexer test. And if I go over here, Lexer test.cpp, alright, so first of all, this is stupid. Look, oh wait, this isn't real code. That's why. Silly. Okay, there we go. That's my test code. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to test against. So I want to put it into the mode where it's only running that one, but it's running it in verbose mode. That's the 1 here versus the 0 here, is whether or not it's verbose. So now with it in a verbose mode, when I, not that one, this one, you go away. When I run experiment, now I get all this output telling me everything that went wrong. Now the problem is, most of that output's not actually useful, because really what happened is these two streams are out of sync, which means one of them is looking at something different than the other one. So of course a lot of the tokens mismatch because I've inserted or deleted tokens in some way from what they should actually be. And let's see, the first error is at type mismatch at token 7. Wow, and they start at different places. In the file. And okay, so the problem here is that it's reading the slashes as tokens, the backslashes, which it's not supposed to do. So test.cpp, right, it's reading these backslashes, the new Lexer is, it's reading them as tokens, which is why it's not matching the correct output. So what I need to do is, that is a matter for in here, I want to say, somewhere around here I have logic for backslash. Right. Okay. So this logic here should only apply if, yeah, okay, so this actually needs to be more complicated, so we're going to pull you out and do you manually. Alright, so the idea is, if I have pp state equals new lexer.h lspp right, okay, so lspp default, then I want to emit token equals 1. Else, what I want to do is I want to do like I want to have some way of saying that I want to skip token type thing. Well, actually, a better thing I could do is do this in the other part, right? So you go there, and I'll go to the other uppercase stuff down here, and we'll say that it's actually this that right. So this is where it's different. If fsm.pp state equals lspp default, SL, try else, there we go. And then down, where do I actually create the token? What I want to do is have a thing that says that I have the ability to say if I'm still emitting the token, right? So maybe I have the ability to say, oh, don't emit that token after all, during that code up there, right? And then that means in that else case, really, so okay, so yeah, so in this case, token.type equals cpp token junk. And in this case, token or fsm.emit token equals 0. So if I'm not in the default preprocessor state, it won't actually emit the token at all. Alright. What do we have now? There we go. Okay, so now I'm just having a flag mismatch at token 7, and a few of the superfluous tokens are gone. Now the flag mismatch is because the other thing I need to do is I need to prevent, basically, if I see a slash, then what I want to do is skip forward a little bit and see if I can read out a what is it? The thing I'm thinking of. A new line. There. Okay, so something like, let me open this on the other side actually so I can compare it. Position plus square plus position. There we go. This is the one I wanted. So I want to do something like where I go C equals get the current position and then do while C is any of the white spaces other than new line. Keep on looping. And James Widman, what is LSPP default? That means Lexer state for preprocessor. So there's main Lexer state and there's the preprocessor Lexer state. And both of them have a default, which is kind of just the value they're set to. So it's like they're not in any peculiar state. But if you're like on a line that's defined or an undef or whatever, then the PP state changes. The LS or the PP state changes to one of the other things. So that basically just means that if we have LSPP default as our PP state, that means that we're not on like a line with a hash. You know what, I wonder if at one point I think I was messing around with this and I had this at 80 and I couldn't understand why. James, to elaborate a little further, you'll see hopefully pretty soon what I'm going for here. It's a interesting technique that Sean Barrett pointed out to me in an unfinished article he sent me at one point, and I'm giving it a shot to see if I can integrate it with the preprocessor Lexer. So that the thing that reads preprocessor can, the idea is basically to optimize a way to clean up and optimize Lexer code to make it actually quite small and fast in a really interesting way. And I'm trying to see if I can integrate the preprocessor into it because my Lexer does have that, and I think if I do sort of a two-stage finite state machine thing, which I don't feel like explaining at the moment, but I feel like I can make it work because it's basically how the other one works anyway. And it's not like 100% compliant. There's like things it doesn't do, but it's like it's compliant against, you know, any code that's not trying to break it, I guess I would say. Like there's no reason I can think of for the few things that it doesn't handle right to be actually important. If C equals new line. Hey, Dat Game is asking if I have considered using Clang, Clang's AST for code handling. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but I'm assuming what you mean is Clang's AST for my code, like Clang's AST code, not like the AST for Clang, which wouldn't necessarily be useful in any way. But I'm assuming you're asking if I'm considering using Clang to do the AST stuff, and I've considered it and decided I don't want to if I can, you know, avoid it, because I don't really want to have to build other people's code into my code, really. It's not the point of my project here. Yeah, I understand that it's a difficult problem. Like, I don't plan on going to, like, full C++ lengths, even. Like, I'm not going to parse C++ 17 or whatever, right? But the whole point of me originally doing this project wasn't to do all of the things I have done with it. The whole point was to make a C++ parser. So that would kind of, like, be abandoning my original vision of the project if I did use Clang. Alright, so it looks like we've gotten quite a bit farther, because now we're on token 25 being the first type mismatch. So I'm going to take a look at this in the debugger so that I can figure out what's going wrong next. Doop. Do 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 do. PPP stringify token less. Interesting. So I assume that these are talking about let me go look at what okay, here's token 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I'm not sure if I counted that as a 0 indexed or not, but this is the one that is calling stringify, which is correct. And yeah, so whenever I see that, if I'm doing if I'm in the body situation, then that should be handled. So I'm looking for this. Where does this get read? I see. So the problem is just that it's not being handled at the bottom, I assume? Ooh, it's not. Okay. fsm.pp state. Where else does this come up? Okay. Should be lexdata.pp state maybe? Okay. And the point is, right, I think I need to pull up new Lexer over here, and I think it's ls pound. Yeah, so I want a case for ls pound. Do I have that? ls pound. There it is. So if I'm emitting it, why does that say less EQ and less? That's not right. This is just like wrong stuff typed in. Okay, so if I saw a pound and I see another pound, that's pp concat. Otherwise, it's pp stringify. where is the error happening? Still at 25, now the flags are off. The flag is supposed to be 4, but it's 68. What does 68 even mean? Testing flags. Oh, is there a way to view these things in binary? Does anyone know? I want to see, like, in terms of flags. Best I can think of is to do it in hex. Correct flags, and then sort of translate in my head. So, it looks like there are 2 bits. One of them is right and one of them is wrong. So which one would be, that's 1 shifted 4, 5, 6 times. Types.h, this one please. 1 shifted, no? No? Okay, so we're not wrapping that in parentheses, I see. T flag is operator, so you're saying I'm not supposed to flag that as an operator. Okay, we don't have to. Eisber with the save on the binary situation. Killer. Awesome. Very cool. Yes. God damn it. Okay. Bye-bye. Build over here. Very good. Okay. So, let me run it right here real quick. Still not it. Flag mismatch at 25 still, huh? Okay. Not totally sure I understand. Oh, right. Okay, so I can't just not set it. I have to actually, it's my responsibility to clear these to 0. So I think this wants to be 0 either way. Yeah, James, that'd be a good idea. I should not do the bit shift version. I should just write the hex constant. That way when I compare it from debugger to there, it matches. Ideally, what a debugger could do for me is I could say, like, say this is a flag. These are flags, like, because that's a common thing that people use all the time is flags. And then it would, like, tell you which bit you're on, and then my bit shifting would just work. But short of that, what I should do is what you're suggesting. Okay. Now I don't want to be in hex mode. 27. So we got further. It's 2 after the stringify, so that's good news. So here's the one we were tripping up on. We're tripping up on a string. That seems a bit odd. You know, another thing I've never dealt with that I'm supposed to, this is like the one thing I don't handle that I should, is macros in the include. That's, you know, if the preprocessor language was more, what's the word I'm looking for? It was better, like, better structured as like a proper grammar in a certain way, that wouldn't be such a problem, but it's actually like a giant pain in the ass that you can put identifier here for my system, but it can be done. Okay. So, 1 minute, I want to look something. Oh yeah, OBS. I always forget when I'm running OBS that it takes like it takes so much CPU time that it takes more CPU time than how long it's been running for. Like, it's up to 50 minutes of CPU time, and we've been streaming for 30. It's crazy. Okay. I always forget how bad that is. Yeah, I think 4coder would just, no, it doesn't hate you for it. I know it sometimes will get mad at you if you... Maybe it's this way that it... Okay, I don't know why I'm not getting junk tokens right now. It's a little bit weird, but anyway. Normally I get junk tokens when I try to include there, so maybe this isn't a perfect system anyway, but who knows. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I don't get junk tokens for that. I thought I did. Okay, so, we're generating those correctly, and then somehow things go wrong there. So I want to stop. I want to run this again, first of all. The type is string constant on both. It's just a matter of flags. So I gave it an extra flag at 2 bits higher than the one it's supposed to be at. Which one is that? There's bit 3. Okay, bit 5. Okay. So I have an extra bit 5 going on. Parameterized, huh? Okay, so when do I never even add parameterized as a thing. Wait a minute. Bit shift 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I was off by 1. Multi-line. Why do I have a multi-line? That's odd. You're telling me that it's setting a multi-line flag? That's kind of weird. Gotta strain your voice to express the weirdness. Okay. So where does multi-line okay, or equals 1 there. I assume I eventually set it back to 0, right? Yeah, okay. So then okay, so I want to see if either of these things happens unexpectedly. And what I need to know at any given time is what is token I right now. It's 104. Okay, let's try this again. So it's running along. Token I is 27, huh? And it saw a backslash while parsing a string. Is that true? I don't think that's true. Yeah, it shouldn't. Oh, it did see a backslash. Okay, so the problem is that I'm setting multi-line at the wrong place. I should not set multi-line to true just because I've seen a backslash. I should do it when, yes, I should do it in here. When I've seen a new line. And I want in that case to set that and to transition states, basically. Where's the other spot where I set multi-line? Yeah, it's the same concept there, I'm assuming. I want you... Actually, I've got James here. I can just ask, hey, what's the rule on characters? Can you do things like... Is that supposed to be allowed? I'm assuming that it is, because if I understand how the slash is supposed to work, it generally gets applied before lexing happens, right? So this is correct, if I am understanding correctly. Cool. Alright, good, because my thing is going to allow that, and I don't want to have to special case it. Yeah, James, I understand how backslash new line is supposed to work. I'm not actually doing that correctly. I'm basically saying, that's the thing I was saying, there's one thing I don't technically handle, which is your tokens can't be split by a backslash if they're supposed to be one token. Like, one token can't be split across two lines. So it works for single line comments, strings, macros. Backslashes work for all that, but it's treated as a token, not like the correct way, because I've never read serious code that relied on backslashing mid-token and then that being put back together. I know it's not correct, but it's like if I don't do that, I give up a lot of important features that I need. Like, it'd just be, I would have to do it like I'd have to then generate a new file, I think. Ideally, I'll just eliminate the use of backslashes eventually anyway. So, at least for that purpose. Like, hopefully code written in 4coder, maybe what'll happen is it will say, hey, format this as code, do all the backslashes correctly, and then when it saves the code, it doesn't have backslashes anymore, which is unfortunate. Or I could even like pretty print the code and include backslashes and just not have backslashes in the code while it's being edited in code mode. But for now, I'm just not handling that correctly because it would impede my other plans way too much. Okay. Now, I want to run it again. Did we fix it? Did we fix it? What's the error? It's still a flag mismatch. Did I build it? I'd maybe not build it. I'm going to build it, and then I'm going to run it over here. Okay, and then I'm going to disable these guys and see what happens when I try this. Type J 77. Oh yeah, okay, so the type mismatches. He wants a comma, he wants an identifier. Alright, let's see if I can figure out where there's a comma. Okay, it's way after this, 77. So this was 25, 26, 27. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 70. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that makes sense. So my float handling isn't smart enough yet, which makes sense. So when I'm in float, things are going to get crazy. Right. You can see that the old Lexer handled this. Correctly. It treats this as one big float, which is a pain, but it is what it is, and so we gotta deal. Okay. So, what my float thing is doing right now is saying, okay, we know we're float. Whenever we know that we're float, it's because we're past the dot already. So then it's possible that we see a single E So if I see an E, we're going to go to state equals ls crazy float. And when I'm in crazy float, what'll happen is actually I need like I need to add like so many states for this. It's not nice, but okay. So if I'm in crazy float 0, then let's see if it'll be kind of like up here where, okay, if I'm not just a number, actually it's not even that simple. If I am just a number, what is it that I'm thinking of? If I'm just a number or a negative sign, right? I think that's all that I need. I'm just sort of doing this off my top of my head, which maybe is not the best way to do it, but Keeper Caleb, I'm not interpreting the floats, I'm just lexing it. So what we need to do, Keeper Caleb, I can't do that, and I can't exactly explain why, but it's a finite state machine. Gotta do it this way. I'm sure my old one worked that way, but the new one is entirely a finite state machine, which reminds me I also have to do the various ways that an integer can end, which I wonder if I want to do that after the fact. I could really say after having read yeah, we're going to change up how these sort of token tail thingies work for the numbers. So we're not going to take care of these F cases, they'll just go through the default case, which is fine. So I have a number or a negative. Either way, I want to transition to state equals ls crazy float 1. Otherwise, we have a situation where I want to emit a token, I think, and that would just be junk at that point. I need to check the old Lexer real quick. I want to double check that I'm not too far off here. So where do I lex a float? Are there L suffixes too? So I guess that's good that I'm getting rid of manually doing that. Okay. Is float. Okay, so here if it is float, then what happens is E mode E minus equals 0 is good. So then e minus if character equals negative. Yeah, it looks like if character equals e, then I'm in e mode. And is good equals 1. What does that do? Okay, so each step we're checking if it is good, and if we're not good, we break. So then the next thing we do, so what I need to know for sure, here's the easy way to test this, is what happens if I just have an E. Okay, yeah, so it doesn't, that's probably not correct, but I'm gonna leave it, okay, for now. Okay, so if I see an E, I go to crazy float 0. If I see a number, I go to crazy float 1, or a negative, I go to crazy float 1. Otherwise, I just emit this token here, and then I have a state for crazy float 1. And then, from then on, when I'm in here, if it's not a number, then what I do is I say, whatever it is, we're going to emit a token. Alright. So I've broken a few things, and first of all, it's not even going to build right now, so let me go up here and look at where we have float. I'm going to introduce my new crazy floats. Let's see, I'm curious how many of these I have now. So 336, 373, 373 minus 336, 37. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Okay. Some of them might be reducible, which I wouldn't find out until later, but I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'll have to think about those details once I get to the metacode part. Alright, so, anything else wrong? Okay. ls crazy float 0. I'm pretty sure I just defined that. If I didn't define it, then what did I write? Oh, I wrote 1 and 2. Sorry. Alright, so crazy float 0 and 1. Float colon, crazy float 0. Okay. So if I have a crazy float 0, then I want to do token type equals CPP. I can't remember. I think for now what I want to do is say all of them will go right here. So any stage in the process of parsing a float. And then I want to do switching on C. There's a default case where I do minus the pause by 1. No. Okay, here are the cases where I do a plus to the pause is what I'm doing now. Right, so case, there we go, and that case, and that case, right? So if any of those things happen, then I plus the position. Semicolon key type j equals 68. So we've broken things that used to work, which is fair. That was going to happen potentially. So what again were the mismatches? It's supposed to be a semicolon, but he's key type. And I'd love to know Start. Yeah, I'd love to know this information. Char testing. Okay, so it put in a char mismatch at 67. Oh, the first error is a mismatch at 67. I should really have one here. Okay, let me just run this on here and get that information, because this is the kind of information I want to get from here, not from the debugger. Because debuggers sometimes just don't quite know what you're looking for, you know? I have too few tokens now. We've adjusted too far that direction. Interesting. So at 9:03, oh, it's consumed the semicolon. Okay, I have it backwards. I can admit it when I have something wrong. This is backwards. Default minus minus the pose. Right? So, there we go. Alright, now we're back to 79. This is taking 32LL, and this is just taking 32, which is, again, one of those things with that, and that's fine. I can just do that in here. So, same idea as down here. If C is... gets a little bit trickier because of the length situation. How many of these things are possible, first of all? Right, there's a few of them. Let's find LLU. I know that's one of them. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. Is LU not allowed? Why would LU not be allowed, though? Seems like I should also have all the permutations of these with one L, right? James, I'm calling on you again. Should I also add to this list the UL, LU, ULL, LL, LU, or LU combinations with a single L? Do you happen to know? Or do you know how to read the docs? Also, do you happen to be there? I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, alright, so when I have a number come in, how do I want to check? I'll just do it this way for now. Right, so there we go, and then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, then in that case, take the next one. If C equals, so it's basically this requirement again. Then I'll take the next one, and if it happens to be a U that time, then, or if it's not a U, then we would back up one, right? No, James, what I mean is, what if it's one L? I'm worried about whether I need the UL and LU case. But let me take a look at this link you sent, now that I've got it. UL Because for some reason that's not listed on my list over here, but I feel like that should be allowed, right? Single L, single U. Yeah. Okay. Yep, yep, yep. Okay. So basically, what I want to have is a thing that's like, check if there's an L. Now, actually, they have to match in case, which is annoying too. I think I'll just do this the sort of other way. So it'll be like consume L if possible. Consume L if possible. If consume L, and then I pass in like, here's the chunk and our current position, and this right here. Consume L. Okay. So that'll take 1 or 2 L's if they match. Oh, so the little L and the big U can go. Awesome. Right. Okay. So there's a lot of these. So consume L. That'll take 1 or 2 L's, and it'll only take them if they're both the same case. It'll only take both of them if they're both the same case, and then return true if it got one. And then it will consume U, C chunk position. Else, it will try to consume U first, and if that works out, then it'll try to consume L. Right? And then all you gotta do is go write these two functions here. So I can pop over here and go non-alloc. There we go. So we're gonna write these two guys. So it needs to be Lexer link int char c char chunk int star pause. And you know what, I'm actually going to need a chunk size in there too. Okay, so now the idea is if I'm consuming an L, then what I'll do is I'll say, look, if C, and what I should do here is do that C equals chunk position. Ah, damn. Yeah, okay, got it. Okay, so if C equals L, or C equals L, then we're going to take position and increment it 1. Wait, let me do it this way. Matches my style. Okay. So then look at the next position. If C happens to match what I see there exactly, and of course the other thing I have to do is if position is less than size, right, and then this stuff. Right, so if position is still in scope, like inside the buffer, and oh damn, what about Okay, so I might have a small issue here. So I'm going to draw a quick state diagram. So I've just finished lexing an int. I may see a U or an L. Right? Or a big L. At which point, if I see any of those three things, I could then, after that, see a little L or a big L. Yeah, that's nasty. I don't want that to all be added into the main state table. From here, I could see a little L. From here, I could see a big L. And when I put U here, it could be a big U, but I'm just saying this is little U and big U are both possible because they would have the same effect, where little L and big L actually have different behaviors. So it doesn't matter so much that, because here I just put a case that's like case little U, case big U, but here I have to have different states depending on which one I saw, so that I can match the cases between the two. Anyway. Oh wait, unless, no, you're saying one little L, big U, and so on. Okay, I'm just checking what James said. Maybe if I can mix little L and big L to make a double L, then I could do it as one L type. But anyway, then from here I could see another little L. I could see another big L. I could see another U here. I could see a U here. And I could also see a U here. Right, so the number of states I would need to add is 1 for each of these states. There's 3, plus 1 for, so it would be 7 new states to completely parse this. So instead, what I think I'll do, no, do not want to save that, is I want to be able to say, have like a special condition that's like, because this won't work over chunk boundaries, so that's just crap and it's gone. So we'll need to do this as a separate sort of pain in the ass. So ls state lex state, there we go. I'm going to call this the enum lex int state. Boop. Okay. And what this will contain is int default, ll int saw u, ll int saw little l, ll int saw big L, ll int u saw big little l, saw big L, ll int little l saw little l, big L saw big L. Okay, so there's all the states I need. And I don't need the final states on any of these things, which is nice. So this will be a separate finite state machine that runs specifically when we're in an int situation. So how do I want to set that up? Where's my finite state machine? Ah, there it is. So I have char. How about we just turn you into a char, and then we'll have char int state, right? And what we'll actually do is we'll have yeah. Okay, so I'll figure out how to do the rest of that later. But if I'm doing ll ls number, and all those guys. Where are they? Here they are. Then before they happen, before this stage, I'm going to need to separate this out into another stage. So, yeah, so if we're emitting a token, well, I just kind of want to put it right here. So what I want is, yeah, right here. Okay, so if I'm in the default state, no. Okay, I'll just throw it in number for now, because I guess it doesn't matter. I have to refactor that a bit anyway. So then what'll happen is we'll say, look, fsm.intState equals lsInt default, and then we'll begin a little finite state machine right here, a small one. The way this one will work is we'll begin a new for loop, just like the other ones. So for yes, there we go. For position less than or equal to end position plus position. Okay, bye. Case lsInt default. Wait, switch on fsm int state. ls int state, and then if we are in the int state, what we want is we want to see what our C is, right? So we have to do what we're doing over there in the loop, which we say look at this. Why would I put plus position there? That's just dumb. Don't do that, Alan. Do not do that. Okay. Okay, and then what we do is we say, alright, we're going to look at the next thing, right? Technically what I need to do is right before I start this, back the position up one, because it's already consumed that thing, and now we need to back up one and consume it again. Look at the next thing, and then let's see, case if I see a U, then fsm.int state equals lsInt U L int done equals 0 for done equals 0, and so if I don't see any of those, then we're done. Okay, now lsInt U, and by the way, these guys up here need to be the states L and big L. In this case, I've just seen a little U, so now I might see a little L, or I might have seen a big U. I need to handle both of those, right? Okay, well, they don't need different code though, so there we go. If I see either of those, okay, if I see a little L, then I want to do fsm.int state equals lsInt U little L break. If I see a big L, U big L break. Otherwise, done. ls int u. Okay. Alright, what's the next one? Little l. Alright, if I see a little l, then I could see another little l, and then I would be in this case. Or I could see a u in either of its forms. And then I would be in this case, although I don't actually have a case for that. I just sort of want it to be like an extra, and I'll explain why. ls int, I'll explain why later. Just trust me on that. Badoop, doop. So if I see a big L, then I've just done LL. Which technically that doesn't need to be a separate case from the other one, does it? So, wait, ls int ul, for instance. Where are these things? ls int default. Int default. What did I call it? LL? Why did I call it LL? Okay. Anyway, I don't need these to be separate. ls int big L's, because it's irrelevant whether they're big or small after I've determined that they come together. James, that's a good point. James is suggesting that you might intentionally use backslash to make a single, within a single token, to make a large integer with long, ongoing digits. That is a good point. So I guess those people will be just out of luck. They'll have to go back to Emacs. Sorry, guys. Yeah, the really hard thing about backslashes is no editor even puts you back here after a backslash anyway, so it's just so unnatural to combine things that way. I was actually surprised when, I think it was you who originally told me this existed a while back, and I went and looked into it, and I decided that I wasn't going to handle it until I had, I'll eventually be able to handle it, but not until I've built up some other stuff that I need. So anyway, so default ul, big L, little ul, little l, and I want basically another copy of this, and then that transitions me to extra, big L. If I see a big L, that transitions me to extra, and then the idea of extra is that it will just allow me to consume an extra token the same way everything else gets consumed without overthinking about anything. So there we go. ls int ul, comma, ls int extra. See how that does. It should break because that's a lot of code. There we go. 942. Alright, awesome. So now we've got a nice little finite state machine there, so we can later on handle that the same way we handle everything else, which means we'll be able to go over the chunks just fine, I think. We'll just need some way of skipping. We'll need my Duff's routine trick, which is fine. I'm anticipating using that, so that's okay. Now, let's run it. See if I broke tons of stuff. Something's broke. Wow, yeah, okay, so I have way too few tokens now, which I think means that it hit that integer and then just kept reading everything. Done equals 1 should eventually happen in any case, right? How could it possibly not? Each step I read position, I get a new C, I switch on that C, I transition to little, let's see, in this case it's little l to little l, that's what should happen. Then I'm in little l, and I transition to LL. Oh, I'm missing that state, that's how it can happen. So I need states, I need the state for ls int ll still. In that case, if I get a u or a u, default done equals 1. Okay, back to normal behavior, but maybe we're passing that integer problem now. OX34. Okay, and then I need to back 1 at the end as well, because I'm forcing it to go 1 too far. So there's the switch, there's the for loop, yeah, and then I back 1 more. Hey, that's it. We're passing Lexer test. And now, the fun part is always, once you're passing a new one, you go back to experiment, wherever that file is, and you go down to where you're only looking at this one, and you say, how many am I passing now? Because I fixed Lexer test. How many other things have I fixed now? Because I'm now handling the suffixes on floats and integers. I need to handle the suffixes on strings still. I guess that's not in my test case, but let's do that next. I'll add that to the test case. Actually, I don't even know if the Lexer handles string suffixes correctly. I forget what they even are. Can someone in the chat remind me what the string suffixes are? Hey, 18 out of 20. Yes, very close now. Okay, so it's just these two. These two are the big ones. So let's put basic up next. I think I'm gonna skip string suffixes. I mean, I'd love it if someone told me what they were, but I don't think my Lexer handles them. So unless it happens, unless the old Lexer handles them, I'm not going to, because I'm trying to exactly match the behavior of the old one. And obviously I'll have to make string suffixes work once I'm done making them match, and I sort of kill the old one and let the new one live on. Then I'll fix other bugs. Okay. Oh, there are string prefixes? Whose idea? How do you... Okay, so there are string prefixes? How do you know that it's not an identifier? Oh, that's a... Okay, so my plan is I'm just going to Lex those like identifiers, and then what I'll do is I'll have a patch up thing, which is when it's a string that you're about to push onto the stack, it takes a look at the top and goes, is this one of the things that prefixes a string literal, and then it will turn that, to get rid of that, basically it'll merge the two into a single string thing. That's really weird to me that those are prefixes. I never use them, but the fact that they're prefixes is kind of annoying. Okay, anyway, ignoring that, we're at 18 out of 20. I've just switched to experiment and rebuild, or switched to basic and rebuilt. Oh my goodness, these are just type mismatches. They're not even... Oh my goodness, we're gonna be done. We're gonna get to do the metaprogramming today, I think. Fingers crossed. So, here we go. Pop over here. Type mismatch, what's going on? Talk to me. That's a not, and this is bit not. Fair enough. I have a typo somewhere. Experiment. Not and bit not. That's in new Lexer. Bit not. I have bit not in 2 different places. Yeah, bang should not be a bit not. Boop. There we go. So now it's now up to feature parity with the other one, I suspect. With the one that I already had. I can never decide why I mess with the white space while I'm thinking. Okay, so here's what we'll do. First, we're going to check this. "20 out of 20. Alright, so there's 2 different things I can work on now. It's up to feature parity. Actually, there's like 3 different things we could work on. So there's a few concerns that I have that were the whole point of this. One of them is speed, and I want to start putting if it's all correct, if it's 20 out of 20 on the test cases, I'd like to put speed information on here now so we can compare them. I suspect the new one is slower. It might be faster, but it's got like some heavy branching stuff going on right now. It should be slower. And I want to put those 2 things next to each other so I can compare them. The goal is to obviously make it much, much faster. And then the other thing that I want to see is I want to see if it works in chunks, which I know it doesn't work in chunks right now. But I want to get it moved towards it working in chunks. Since it's not set up to work in chunks yet, I'm not going to do the chunks. I'll probably do that offline at some point. But the other thing we could do is I could forego, well, I think we should do speed stuff first, because if we don't do speed stuff first, the other thing I do will be to start speeding things up. So I think the order we should do this in is add the speed information in today. I'll work offline on getting the chunking working, and then hopefully I'll be able to do the metaprogramming that I've been promising next time, because the metaprogramming part is just going to be so interesting. I won't be able to do it all on stream because there's too much of it to do, but it's going to be really neat what I want to do. Now, let's do some performance counting thing. I forget how I want to do this. I could do query performance counter. It's what I usually do. Or I could do like cycle count based thing. I forget what that is. RDTSC. I could do this one. Generates the RDTSC instruction, which returns the processor timestamp. The processor timestamp records the number of clock cycles since the last reset. 4-bit unsigned integer representing a tick count. I feel like it'd be fun to measure it with this, because then I don't have to do like a bunch of shit with query performance counter. That's always kind of annoying. So it takes I64, and I need to include anything for it in trend.h. Right. Okay. In trend.h. Hey, you did. So someone on chat asked, who was it? Bloodraven asked if they saw a Handmade Hero link in the Google search, and they did. It's right here. Handmade Hero forms RDTSC. You search for RDTSC, and Handmade Hero is the 6th result, because that's how much information there is about these things. in the world. That just like you can just, you know, be handmade hero and you're at the top of the list. So okay, intrin.h, and then what I'll do is I'm gonna have a couple of things here which are I'll call it like the hand-coded Lexer time equals 0, and then I'll have FSM Lexer time equals 0. Okay, so the way that will work is right in here, there's a spot where I run these things. I'm going to take them both and do I64 I64 start equals rdtsc, and then I'll do time equals, well, I don't need that, that's superfluous. It should just be hand-coded Lexer time plus equals rdtsc minus start. And no, wait, that should still be start. What the hell am I doing? Okay, FSM Lexer time. Okay, and now if I get to the end and I passed, okay, so basically I only want to show myself this if I passed total equals my test total, and if I'm not running in single test mode. The other thing I want to do is, no, yeah, they don't print during the timed sections. Awesome. Okay, then time information. We'll do this sort of funky style. Okay, so time information. Should go like that. We'll call this hand-coded Lexer time, and then I'll put %d there, and I'll do FSM Lexer time %d there. And if I can get a tip from the people in chat again, how do you do that neat thing where you like line up? Is there like an automatic way to line up these two numbers? I always see like programmers who have a lot of swagger doing that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, oh, I can just printf and like make things look good on the command line. And I don't really have a grasp of that. I don't know a good trick for doing that, but I'd kind of like to get good at it because it looks cool when people do that. Handmade Lexer time, FSM Lexer time. How do I make it? Because the problem is going to be that these two strings here aren't the same length. Hand-coded Lexer time versus FSM Lexer time. How do I, like, say I want those two to be the same? Do I have to do, like... Because, I mean, what I could do is just do format string here and format string here and then put them in as hard-coded strings. Let's take a look. Pretty sure that that just makes my numbers wider, right? I want them to line up. I don't want to manually manage spaces if I change the lengths of these names. Here's what I'll do. Okay, so that's why I want a minus. I don't want 40 because it's giant. Doop. There we go. We can just take those out of the equation and we'll be done. Alright. So as it turns out, the FSM Lexer is just like super much faster already, which, you know, is not totally surprising because the hand-coded one was like calling functions and stuff, and this is like all in one function. So turns out that just alone speeds it up. What do you know? Twice as fast now. Twice as fast now. Which reminds me, I should do like a ratio thing, right? So it's like... Oh, I thought that I had them all lining up together in the code. Oh well, we'll do them that way. Okay. James Widman, yeah, that does suggest a really nice macro, doesn't it? These two lines here. Anyway, what I should do is just take care of that now, rather than putting it off. So, outline is minus 30s %d, and then you just say how many outlines you want. Outline, outline, outline. Boop. Bidoop. Speed up factor. How about that? Oh, you could do that too. Actually, let's do that because I love it. Yeah. We'll need to include a type so I can keep the casts though. Alright. So outline var. Always good to just go overboard on stupid shit when you're kind of in the mood for it. It's always the right thing to do. FSM Lexer time. Speed up. Awesome. Bloop. So speed up is, yeah, right around double already. Well, that's awesome. Now we're running in debug mode. Let's optimize this so we can get real results. Bismisk build all dot bat. I believe I can just actually do build build all slash O2, right? That should generate a new experiment. Okay. Ah, see, there we go. Now this one's not doing as well. So I'm guessing the reason the other one was yeah, I'm guessing the reason the other one was doing so poorly was because it was all those function calls. This one is like they're roughly on par. I don't know. After it looks like it just barely outruns the other one sometimes, right? But well, yeah. So it's pretty consistently a little faster even now. The new version. Whoa! What the fuck? It just like totally fell flat on its face right there. But yeah, so it looks to me like we're not quite double. It's so hard to say because you gotta take so many samples. But yeah, we're just a little bit faster, but not much. But it's gonna be so goddamn fast once we get to do the cool part of this project. So yeah, obviously James is correct that like this is like all over the place, so it's not really that reliable. It seems to tend towards 1.3 on average, and I bet with OBS I would get totally different results. Well, what I could do is here, this code, I could just introduce a concept of int repeats, right? And then right here, if I'm in here, what I'll do is for int j equals 0, j is less than repeats, plus plus j, because my counters just add up, right? They'll keep adding up the whole time. Then at the end, I'll do hand code. Well, I won't even, you know what? I'll just say time information for this many repeats, and then I'll put right here repeats, right? Oh, now we have to wait for forever because of all the output. What I should introduce is a super not verbose mode, and what we'll say is verbose level equals -1. And then run experiment. Where do I use the variable verbose? If verbose is greater than or equal to 0, so now all printf should be ignored if I'm at level -1. So now we've got an average over 100 runs, and it still looks like 1.3 is about the right spot to expect. It's still pretty variable too, look at that. Okay, so anyways, that's pretty fun, interesting stuff. I can't go past 7 today, so I'm gonna do just a little bit more. So the first thing I wanted to do was I said I need to set up the timer. Now I want to start looking at how to do this in chunks, because once we can do it in chunks, I'll be able to you know, now that I've got a thing that matches incorrectness, I want it to continue matching incorrectness, but I want to add new features. The speed isn't actually got to be that good right now, is the other thing to keep in mind. Okay. So to do chunk testing, what I'd like to do is I'd like to add a new thing here that says chunks, and the way chunks testing will work is in here, if we're doing chunks, we'll test it one way, otherwise we'll just run this, right? And if we're doing chunks, what I'll do is I'll say something like for k equals 0, k is less than data.size, k plus equals chunks, and then what I'll do is right here, this will be data plus k, this will be k, and this will be file data.size, this will be chunk size. We'll need to compute that and pop it in there. So now I need k and chunk size, and chunk size equals chunks, obviously, if chunk size plus chunks, if chunk size plus k is greater than data size, then chunk size equals data size minus k, right? Two. File data. Okay. Alright, it's failing everything now. That could totally be a problem in the test setup and not in anything else, but let's take an easy one. Crazy words. Alright, so the original went from 0 to 9 to 6, and this one went from 64 to 3, 1 and 235, huh? So it looks like we're producing too many tokens, which makes sense. But now I think it's going to be harder than I thought to get this up and running, which means we'll just end on me roughly getting one of these files to work again. So the problem here is I'm getting to the end position and passing a 0 through. What I need is a concept of saying, is the end position the end of the stream or not? And I don't have that concept right now. So here's my file absolute position. Here's size. Here is a last chunk flag. Now, what happens needs to be something like this. So last chunk will work like basically end position, and then I'll have stream end position, and stream end position will be just like you know, max positive integer, and then what I'll do is if we have a last chunk, then stream end position is equal to the end position. Then the idea is the position keeps going while it's less than the end position, strictly speaking. But what I'll do here is if position is less than the stream end position, And if so, what I'll do is I'll increase end position by 1. Right? Now the other thing that's happening right now is I don't pass lex data in, which is kind of a problem. lex data, right? And I have this FSM, which I think it needs to carry from one stage to the next as well. So that should really be a part of the lex data. So lex FSM, oh, it is a part of the lex data. Awesome. So what I'll just need to change is that we do lex data.fsm equals FSM. And really what I should start doing is moving this towards a DUFS routine. That's what I really need to do if I'm going to take it seriously. But to roughly get the idea started, I read you in there. And then out the other end, lex data.fsm equals the FSM again. We return the lex data. And what I need to do is in the experiment code, that should stop working because I've now introduced passing the lex data in 523 to a function that wasn't previously taking lex data. Oh wait, new Lexer, lex data, there you go. Boom. Go back to the experiment. 225. Lex data LD equals empty. Pass in the LD. Get it back out. Here we'll just pass it in because we're not doing multiple chunks. And this can just be a true, that's the last one. K chunk size, so what I need here is like, technically I'm putting these up here. Is last. Is last equals true. This last equals false. Is last. $192. What's the problem here? Oh, that's got to be in new Lex namespace right now. There we go. Alright, see if that's any better at all. Okay, they have the same number of tokens, but now there's a mismatch. Yeah, so I still have issues where like it's resetting the position each time and nasty stuff like that. So it's lexing the token. The finite state machine part is carrying over correctly, but what I need to do now, which I'll probably end up doing offline, is cleaning the whole state of the whole thing. I'm just going to treat the whole thing, and I'm going to split out the things that I can absolutely not reinitialize every time, put them into a DUFS machine state, add in a PC state for that, and then do the switch so that I can jump into the right position if I have to pull out at random times. And then hopefully this will be back to working. Alright, so I have a few minutes left, but I don't have anything to do, so if anyone has any comments or questions about where I'm going with this before I'm gone, now would be the time to shoot them at me. Anything? FuCon, I'm not sure. I don't think you should plan on me making it on Saturday. I'm gonna be kind of swamped getting this project done. I'm currently scoring like 17 out of 89. um, so you know, gotta work on that. I only have like a week left, so. Alright, I'll see you all around. Bye.